Her name is Jen, she is wild, do, 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 do. She really is a nature child, yeah, 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 yeah. She's gotta go and she dances, hoo, hoo. She gives the world lots of chances, hoo, hoo, hoo.
We go!
Hi, I'm Jen.
And I'm Jane,
And we're SpielMill.
and we're here to do our top 100, yeah! Woo, woo! Making sure the microphone's working, it's working.
Okay, good. It would suck to do this whole thing with no sound.
Yes, so our top 100, how exciting. And we did this 3 years ago.
Beginning in 2020.
We took it down for other reasons, but we are able to reference some of that information, which is kind of exciting. 3 years is a long time in board game years, and I have a lot of new games in my top 100.
I do too.
I mean, 40.
Wow, I did not count.
I got 40.
I'm gonna have
I can't
to do
believe
that.
it. It's so many, and I don't know, but it makes sense because it's 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years, and even though we went for a long period without being able to play the games, we've played so many new games. And the competition to be in my top 100 last time I thought was pretty good, but now it's like super tight.
It is. It is
super tight.
And some games that I think were really high last time may still be on the list, but be much lower just because we haven't played them.
Yeah. There's some movement because we went a couple years up in a play game, so we have a situation where some games are going to suffer from that, and some may even benefit from it in weird ways. So
yeah. All right. So without further ado, what is your number 100? What just barely made the list, hanging on by its thumbnails?
Well, I decided that one of my challenges with this list was that whenever I look at a game individually, I think it's underrated. Like virtually every game on the list. And so my 100, I did exactly that. I'm like, I think this should be higher, and maybe it should be, but I couldn't figure out where else it would go, and so this is where it went. And this is a really cool solitaire game called Grove. It's a 9-card game that I just enjoy, and I can play over and over and over. The designer is Mark Tuck. Side Room Games published it. I really like Side Room Games. They've done a lot of good games, including multiple good solo games. And I've played this game like 40-something times. I played it like 20 times the weekend we got it.
Yeah.
So I think you were away as well.
Yeah.
So that helps with that.
I know exactly what weekend it was. I was in LA.
So yeah, I mean, it's just really fun. You basically have these 9 cards, and you have like, I think it's 4 colors of trees, and you're trying to, or 3 colors of trees, and you're trying to overlap the same colored trees. And every time you overlap the same colored trees, you have a dice, you mark it off, and it starts at a 1, then it goes to a 3, and then a 6, and then a 10. And if you can get it to a 10, that's 10 points. If you can overlap that tree 4 times. And there's even a thing, there's a wheelbarrow you can get where if you overlap it a 5th time, you can like get more points, 15. So you can get, you do this and try to get as many points as you can. It's basically a point chaser, although with Grove, there's a previous version of this game called Orchard, which was really good, but not quite as good as Grove. Grove really improves upon it. Yep. And the other thing that Grove does is it adds these recipes that you can do. They're basically little challenges. On the flip side of the cards are the recipe cards. And you choose a couple of them, and it gives you a point goal and new rules for that game.
Yep.
So it's so fun and addictive. Very addictive.
Yeah.
It's definitely got that addictive nature of some of these games, because the games are quick, of course. And you could just play it over and over and over again, trying to beat your score or try to beat the challenges. So I really like it. It's Grove, a 9-card, a solitaire game from Side Room Games.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I was thinking of Orchard. That's the one you played in 2020 when I was in LA. But yeah, those are great games, especially for you to play while I'm on the road.
Yep.
Okay, so my number 100 actually wasn't on my list last time, which surprises me because I swear we played it before 2020, but maybe not. And that is SpielMill, the story of early coal mining. In case you haven't figured out, I love history. And this game is super historical. It is the early days of coal mining in Germany. And everyone has their own player board, and near the surface is an area called the Pinge, and it starts with a bunch of coal cubes in it, and then you have a shaft that goes down, and you have to sort of, dig your way down, and there's coal resources down there. And so of course that kind of mimics the process of extracting natural resources. And you have to be careful not to get a whole bunch of water in your pit. You've got to be constantly removing the water. You've got to hire workers. You've got to feed the workers. So this game is just, to me, really evocative. There's a central player board area that's made up of hexagons. So but those are variable. So you can have like a variable setup. So it leads to some extra replayability. I really love this game. Worker placement, resource management, feed your workers or they'll die, or revolt or run away or whatever. And it's got that great historical theme to it. Yeah. So that is my number 100, Haspelnacht. Oh, designers. Designed by Thomas Spitzer. It's published by Quinta Games. And guess who the artist is? Johannes Sitch. Of Micro Macro Crime City fame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. This is a game, it didn't make my list, but is so thematic. If you really like these kind of historic games that are super thematic, this is a really good choice.
Yeah.
It's just on the nose thematically, so I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is my number 100, and that's why I chose it.
Yeah. Well, my number 99 is a game that was just on another list that we did, a roll and write list. And this one's called Railroad Inc. And this is one of my top roll and writes. Really enjoy this game. It's got so many different things you can do in the game. So much depth. Really love every aspect of it. This is one of my none movers. It was number 98 when we did this 3 years ago.
Wow.
So it really kind of moved down one, which means it really kind of held its own against 40 new games, surging into the top 100.
Yeah.
But this is a fun route drawing game. You're drawing train routes, railroad and highway, and you're connecting them to exits on your board, and you're just trying to maximize points by having the longest train route, the longest road route, as many exits connected as possible. There's 9 center squares. The more of those that you fill in, you get more points. And we went all in on the Kickstarter. We got the Epic board, which is this giant board with extra towns.
Oh, God, it's good.
Oh, it's just got so much going on. It's got multiple center space areas, and it's just neat.
I highly recommend that.
So much going on, but it's fun. It takes a simple game, it just extends it and gives it so much more fun. So, it's a really fun one. This one's designed by Hjalmar Hawk and Lorenzo Silva, and it's from Horrible Guild. The art was done by Marta Tranquilli. So that is my number 99, Railroad Inc. Now, that was the artist for Blue. For Deep Blue, I didn't check all the Railroad Incs.
Yeah, that's fair.
So.
This has so much replayability. The fact that we have more plays of this than, almost any other game. It's probably top 10 played games for us.
It's up there.
Or top 20, depending. We've got a number that have a lot of play.
It's definitely top 10. I think when you combine Lush Green, Deep Blue, and we log them separately, I have like 70 plays.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So,
them all. And the expansion packs are amazing. We have not played through all of them, but my favorite is the Cthulhu expansion. Just drawing those tentacles on the board. My God, it's so much fun. That was my favorite map ever, was the one that had all the tentacles coming out and grabbing cars off of bridges. It was great. So yeah, that's a great choice.
I don't have the cars off of bridges. What?
Well, that's maybe
I can't draw that kind of detail.
Oh, no, I'm not drawing them. That's just what's happening in my head.
Okay.
Great.
What's your 99?
My number 99 is another new one. And I think there's going to be a lot of new ones here. And these are either going to move up or out. They're ones that we played recently and just were we were really smitten with them, or I was really smitten with them. And we'll see how if they make it to the next list. But my number 99 is The Village. Or I'm sorry, nope. No, it is not The Village. It is Villagers.
Oh, yeah, 2 Village games.
Two totally different games. Villagers is it's a card game designed by I'm going to be so bad at all these names. Hakon Gardner from Sinister Fish Games, and he was also she. I'm actually not sure what gender that name represents.
I could say he. I think so.
Yeah, they were also the artist. And so basically you're drafting cards to play them into your village, and you're creating kind of a tech tree. So you need, for example, if you want to have a cooper or a carpenter, you need a lumberjack first to get the wood. And while I was putting this list together, I was reading the description, and actually it's really interesting. So the description is, after the plague, many of the essential workers were gone from towns. And so in order to be able to actually, fulfill the functions of daily life, they had to, people had to train, or you had to attract new people to your village that could do these essential tasks. And
after the Black Plague?
After the Black Plague, yeah. So the theme actually really works for this, because if you think about it, if you lost your cooper and your lumberjack, you couldn't bring a cooper in before you had a lumberjack. So it actually kind of makes a lot of sense. A lot of times when you play games like where you're building up a civilization and they've got to invent something, they go really quickly from
Tapestry.
Yeah. They go really quickly from the bottom of the tech tree to cooperage or rocket building or whatever. And so this kind of makes sense. They don't have to invent the technology. The technology's there. They just don't have the workers. So that to me actually added just another extra layer to it. But it's really fun. I love the card drafting. I love creating a tech tree. I love that engine building. Those are things I love in any game, and all combined in just a pretty small, it's not that small, but card box, card game.
It's a good choice.
All right. That's my number 99.
All right, well, my 98 is a game that this one has dropped a lot. So this one was hit by all the new games coming because we haven't played it.
Okay.
And it's was number 64 in 2020 when we did this. So that's quite a drop. And it started out as... Well, anyway, it's 64 down to 98, and it is Lowlands. And this is a fun farming game. It's got an Uwe kind of feel to it.
I think he consulted on it, actually.
He might have consulted on it. And so Claudia and Ralph Partenheimer are the designers. The artist is Andrea Bukhoff, and it's from Furland Spiel. And I enjoyed this one a lot. And it's been a couple years since we played it, so I can't talk too detailed about the strategies or anything like that. One of the main components, though, is the semi-cooperative component, where you're trying to build up a dike to hold back the rising waters. And that's very interesting. You get rewarded for contributing to building up the dike, and punished if you don't contribute. And it's really a big part of, you can lose sheep and stuff like that, I believe, as the game goes on. So it's a cool farming game. Like I said, it has that Uwe farming feel, but obviously different designers. So it's really neat. And I really enjoyed this one. I just really need to get it back to the table. We need to put this on our list.
Yeah, for sure. And the dike are like 3-dimensional pieces. It's not like just flat tiles. They're actually, I think, chunky wooden pieces, which is always exciting in any game.
Truth. I don't know what I'm doing.
Nobody does.
So that's my number 98, Lowlands.
Great. Well, my number 98 is another new one to the game, or to the list, and that is Micro Macro Crime City, or any of the Micro Macros. I think the second one, which I can't remember the name of it now, may have been a little bit better than the first one. I think there were a few things they kind of fixed.
It was a little slightly higher level.
Yeah, but also there were some things that were really hard in the first one, where I'm stretching for this, but like you had to look over the whole map to find something, and you couldn't necessarily find it. It was pretty hard to see. Here, there might have been a little bit more like narrowing down, a little bit easier to find things, and still really hard, but a little bit easier. So Micro Macro Crime City, if you're not familiar with it, you get this big map, and it is very detailed. It looks like an old Where's Waldo game or something like that. It's this big black and white map with a million different things happening on it. And it's
mostly a lot of murder.
A lot of murders. Yeah, a lot of murders.
A lot of murder.
A lot of murders.
A lot of distractor murders.
There's people walking around, like just walking past dead bodies all over the place. It's wild. Poof. No wonder so many people get murdered. But we digress. And so there's these mysteries, and it'll be like, turn your attention to, Bob, who was found dead outside of his piano tuning store, and what happened. Can you find Bob? And there's you just play a card, and you have to find that thing, and then you have to find the next thing, and so on, to solve the mystery. And it's maybe more of an activity than a game. I don't know. I don't care. I love it. We've had so much fun playing this. We actually got 2 maps. So we got 2 copies of the game. We each had our own map. We could talk about what we were seeing, but especially with Jayne's disability, it was really hard. We couldn't stand over a table and stare. So this just made it work for us. But it's just a really great game. And this is, who I just mentioned, Johannes Stitch. He's the designer and the artist of this game, and it's published by Pegasus Spiel. So this is one, if you haven't tried it or haven't gotten this game, I highly recommend you check it out. And it's not expensive either. It's really affordable for a game, which is good because you only play through it once.
Exactly.
All right.
It is a good game to play through though, and pass on to a friend. Yeah. Which is what we did.
Yep.
So.
Or send to a thrift shop or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely one that...
it's got replayability after the initial play.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think our biggest problem is not losing the magnifying glasses.
Yeah.
So.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
we have old lady magnifying glasses anyway, so we're fine.
Exactly. Much better than the little ones from the game. All right, so that is my number 98, Micro Macro Crime City.
Good choice. All right. My 97 is a game. I really have a thing. This is new to my list, and I really have a thing for games where you travel around town, like on streets. When I was a kid, I used to love the Chips board game, and you would drive around in these streets. Hey, it is what it is. And this one, though, is about a town in my home state, and it's called Cape May. And I just enjoyed this game tremendously. We've only played it a couple times, so we need to get more plays of it. The designer is Eric Masso. It was published from Thunderworks Games, of course, famous for like Cartographers and the Cartographers Universe role player and such. The artist is Michael Menzel. And this is a funny. You're moving around the town of Cape May. You're building up shops and residences, and then you're upgrading those shops and residences. Beachfront property is more expensive, I believe. Yep. But you get more points out of it. And it's further away from the beach, it's cheaper, but you get less points. So it's very thematic. It just feels really rich. I think the only thing in the game that I found a little bit disappointing was that it's got a bird watching mechanism, which I really enjoy, but it's not, I don't want to say tacked on. There's even a conversation about this, that it wasn't tacked on, but it feels tacked on. Mm-hmm. And it's because it's not part of the core mechanisms. Yeah. It is a mechanism in and of itself, but it's more like if you can't do the other things, you might want to consider doing a bird strategy kind of thing. Yeah. And it's okay. It's fine, but it's not as, I wish there was more to it. Yeah. Because Cape May is this beautiful bird watching community. Yeah.
And I think with the bird watching, you either go all in or you don't do it. And I agree. I wish it were a little more integrated so that, it made sense to bird watch, even if you weren't going all in on that as a strategy.
Yep. So that's my 97. New to my list, Cape May.
Yeah, that's a great game. I don't think it made my list, but I think it's because we've only played it a few times. It might make it if we played it more. Right. And it was also... we played it in the dark days.
The dark days of...
Yeah. So I think, I don't know.
It
Maybe,
wasn't time for my area?
what?
It wasn't time for my area?
No, it was not time for your, it was not. Um, but yeah, this is a really good game, and I think with more plays, it might make my list as well. And it's beautiful. It's so pretty. What a pretty game.
Yeah, it's
Ugh,
very pretty.
really nice.
So
Excellent.
that's good. It's very three-dimensional. The buildings are beautiful. So I really like all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. All right. So my number 97 is from my favorite designer, Uwe Rosenberg, and that is Sagani. This is a new one.
Ooh,
I really liked it.
Yeah.
The first thing I have to say about this game is, Uwe, who hurt you? This is a brutal game. All of his games are so brutal. They're brutal. He is, oh my God. They're painful in some ways. So in Sagani, you are, the goal, according to the game, is to achieve harmony between the natural elements of earth, water, air, and fire.
Love the theme, but
Yeah.
there is no theme.
No, it's totally pasted on. Basically, what you're doing is every turn you put out a tile, you draft and put it out into your area. Each player has their own tile area. Then you take that tile will have a number of conditions that have to be met. For each condition that has to be met, you take one of your player pieces and you put it, the little disc, you put it on that tile. You don't get those back until all of those conditions have been met. And the conditions, the number ranges from 1 to 6. You have maybe 18 action discs, so you could really hem yourself in. If you run out of discs, you have to buy another one for points. And you can even go into the negative if you have to buy too many discs. So it is super, super, super tight and super brutal if you are not really careful about how you put out your discs and making sure that you can satisfy those conditions. Because as soon as you satisfy the conditions, you get the points and you get your action disc back. So it is a really super thinky puzzle. The conditions could be like, there has to be a fire above this tile, but it could be anywhere above it. It could be 6 tiles above it. So you're often like trying to fulfill multiple different tiles requirements by placing things down, sometimes 3, 4, 5 tiles away. And it gets pretty, there's a lot of planning and strategizing in this for basically just a small, relatively quick abstract game. So I really, really enjoyed this one. This is, as I said, it's by Uwe Rosenberg. It was published by Skellig Games, and the art was by Lucas Sigmund. And it's pretty. It's a pretty game, but really, really brutal Uwe. Really. He likes to hurt people.
Oh, that's mean. So my number 97 has really dropped like a lead balloon. And this one I think is really punished because I haven't played it in years and years, and you haven't played it yet. But it is based on one of my favorite literature series, and that is the Game of Thrones, the board game.
Oh.
And this was number 39 when we last did my top 100. And I don't know how much we really drifted away from war games at all. And it is a war game. So I don't know where it's going to fit. And so some of it has probably been changes in my own play preferences, which a part is just from playing games with you. We have preferences of what we like to play together.
Yeah.
And so that affects my preferences, and but it's still in here because I remember loving this game so much. I love the supply mechanism in the game. It's got programming, so you're programming your moves each round, and then you have to try to execute them. And sometimes your best laid plans get foiled by somebody else's best laid plans. So it's pretty neat. It's got a lot going on. It's really fun. And obviously it's super thematic. It really fits in with the storyline, even to the asymmetric powers, sort of asymmetric positions on the map, like where obviously it's like if you're the Starks, you're stuck in the north, and if you really want to win, you have to be kind of aggressive or hope that nobody attacks you and just expand up north. Which kind of can, there's that can play into the game. I played one game where someone was ultra non-aggressive as a Stark, I think, and yeah, it just kind of it didn't work.
Right.
But I really enjoy this game, and I do think it's a great war game, and certainly it's got great themes. So my number 96, which is dropped from number 39, 57 places, is a Game of Thrones. The board game's still in my top 100 though, so it's a good game.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good thing it didn't fall 101 because those games, terrible. So my number 96 is another new to us game. Like I said, I think there's a lot of new to us games up here in the top for me and a few old. But my number 96, we just got this year from Kickstarter. It is a gorgeous game, and that is Foundations of Rome. I think somebody said it's got the look and feel of a big box mini game without actually being a big mini game. This is from Emerson Matucci, published by Arcane Wonders, and the art was from Damian Mamaliti. I think I got that right. Yep. And basically, each player has a whole tray of gorgeous 3D buildings, and you're trying to build those on the central player board, which is a grid, which has coordinates like A1, A2, A3, A4. And each round, there's a bunch of deeds laid out, and you can either collect income, which your buildings help you get income. You can purchase deeds, or you can build a building. And when you purchase a deed, the board, I don't know if I just said this or not, the price starts really low and goes really high, and then they slide down the board. So, you might want to wait to get that deed that you want that's 10 coins this turn, but somebody else could buy it. And then you're really in trouble, because when you buy a deed, you put out your player marker in that square on the board, and you have to get enough squares in the right shape, in the right area, all together that you own to put a building on it. And so you could be waiting turn after turn for the deed that you need to come out. And you only have a limited number of player pieces. So it's a really, it can be really tight and really challenging. But once you get those buildings out, then they bring you benefits, either in-game benefits like income or end-of-game benefits like points. And it's gorgeous. It's, there's player interaction without it being too brutal. And I really enjoyed this one. So I think this is one that's going to go up with more plays. And that is my number 96, Foundations of Rome.
My number 95 is a game that's new to my list, and it's a cooperative game about prehistory, and it's called Paleo.
Ooh.
This is a fun one. It's really neat. It's got a really neat, you each have your own deck. So it's not a deck builder, but you take cards from your deck and you use them every turn. Sometimes you can't do anything even, but it's never that bad because it comes back around so fast. And it's you both kind of do it at the same time, and you can have 8 help on your cards a lot of times. So if you can't do anything yourself, you can often help your other player as they do stuff. And it's just, you have different objectives for each game. And it might be just simple things like gather food and
Yeah.
But it's a really cool game. It really plays very nicely. We really enjoyed it, I think, and we enjoyed the theme. And for a card-based game, I think the theme came out very strongly, which I think sometimes card games, it doesn't always happen.
Yep.
So I really enjoyed it. It's designed by Peter Rustmeyer. The artists are Dominic Mayer and Ingram Schell, and the publisher is Hans im Glück. And I'm terrible at pronunciation, so I apologize. But that's basically what I have to say about it. I really enjoyed it, and it made my top 100, number 95, Paleo.
Yeah, for some reason I thought you didn't like this that much. So
I never said that.
Well, apparently not. I'm excited to get it back to the table. I don't think it made it my top 100, but I think it's right outside of it. I could be wrong without checking the list, but yeah, that was a good one. That's a new one to us this year, or 2022, end of 2022.
Yep.
My number 95 is probably my most precipitous drop on the list. I know it is. There's not going to be anything else that dropped this far. And it is strictly a function of the fact that we have not played this in a long time. And that is Guzhong from Andreas Stedding and Game Brewer Games. This went from number 12 in 2020 down to number 95. And I think we had just played it when we made our list the last time. And so it's a really good game. Yeah. And I think I really love it. But it's complex and I don't remember it at all. I just remember loving this.
I don't even think it's that complex, though.
I don't know.
You kind of trade cards. You play cards.
It's set in 1570, Ming Dynasty in China, and the bureaucracy at that time was really corrupt, and so they had outlawed bribery, but you could still give gifts. And so to do any action in any area, and there's maybe 6 areas on the board, you actually have to trade gifts with an official. And the idea is you want to give that official something more valuable than he's giving you. Therefore, he will be happy, and that will enhance your power in that area. If you give him a card that's lower than what he's giving you, he will be unhappy, and your action is really hamstrung. Yeah. But the cards that you're getting from those officials are your cards for the next round. So you sometimes have to just, bite the bullet. The art on this is phenomenal. It is just gorgeous. One of the prettiest games. And there's a lot of different areas that have sort of like different feels. You can travel by horse in the top section, and you can get favors and things that way. You travel by boat in the bottom. I believe somewhere you're building the Great Wall. You're visiting the Emperor. So there's all of these different things that are going on that have a sort of a different feel to them. And I love that in a game. Again, I think I think if we played it again, it would pop right back up to the top. It's just been so long that right now it's just a memory of joy that is keeping it on my list. Sure. Yeah, so that is my number 95, Guzhong.
It's a good choice. My number 94 is a dexterity game that is not new to my list, but did drop 68 slots. And this may be just an evaluation. We haven't played it in a while, but also it's actually difficult for me to play dexterity games now due to my illness. So that might have factored in as well. Anyway, but I really like this one. It's really fun. It's a really good, it's cooperative. It's called Minara. And it's really kind of simple. You got these tiles you put down with these little poles, and you put tiles on top of the poles, and then poles on top of the tiles, and then tiles on top of the poles, and poles on top of the tiles, and you're building up until you're trying not to knock it down. You're trying to keep building it. It has cards that drive your decisions in terms of how many you have to build, and where, and how, and stuff like that. And it's really fun. We really just have had a lot of fun playing this with groups and such. I think the only issues we haven't played it in a while, and like I said, dexterity games just takes more energy to play. Yeah. So it's possible, but it's definitely a little bit of a push for me. So it probably suffered a little bit from that. So it dropped all the way from 26 to 94. But it is a fantastic dexterity game. So if you like dexterity games, I'd definitely check out Minara. The designer is Oliver Rickberg. The artist is Sebastian Cavu, and the publisher is Zach Verlag. Hopefully I didn't mess any of that up. Too bad. But yeah, so that's it. Minara, 94.
Yeah, and this was such a cool find for us too. We back when Pegasus Spiel, I think, was doing the calendars, the advent calendars with promos in them. We had gotten, it wasn't Pegasus Spiel.
No, it was Britspiel.
When Britspiel, sorry, I knew there was a spiel in there somewhere, was doing their game promo advent calendar. We got the promo card for this and looked it up, and I think we bought it immediately. And so it was such a great sort of surprise to us to discover this game, which just, I don't know, makes it feel a little special.
I do feel like as a SpielMill, we should get our spiels right.
We should get our spiels right, but
it's not easy.
You've seen one spiel, you've seen them all.
Okay.
All right, so my number 94 has been on another list that we've done this year, and that is Three Sisters. So this was the, oh, I don't have my roll and write list up. But Three Sisters was in my top of my roll and write list. And this is from Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle, Motor City Games. It is a combo-tastic, roll and write where you're growing pumpkins, corn, and beans. And you've got, an apiary and an orchard and all of this stuff going on that just makes every turn feel epic. It's also got the action selection in it, is a rondelle, which is kind of nice. It's a little variable every game, which or no, not every game, every turn, because Jayne is going to get to pick first once, and I'm going to get to pick first once, and then we're going to get to use a shared dice, and it just feels like you get to do so much in this game, which is always so satisfying. So that is my number 94, Three Sisters.
My number 93 is a game that was on my list at 69 in 2020. So it's dropped about 24 slots, which isn't too bad considering 40 new games moved in. But it is a bit of a drop. So I don't know. It's a really fun game. It's a Stefan Feld game. Probably his prettiest game until some of his recent ones, and that is Merlin. And this is from Queen Games. The art was done by Dennis Lohausen. I don't want to mess that up. Yeah, I really enjoy Merlin. Merlin sort of moves around the board and helps dictate what action choices you have. I just really enjoyed this one quite a bit. I'm realizing it's been a while since I've played it, and I'm forgetting some of the core mechanisms. But it's got a rondelle, which is key to the action selection, and set collection as well. So, it's fun.
Yeah, and you're collecting banners and on your castle. There's a lot going on. It's been a minute since we've played it. I don't really remember it either, but yeah, this is a really good one. I love that rondelle action selection thing. Is really cool.
So I remember how much I enjoyed it primarily, and so that is my number 93, Merlin.
All right. Well, my number 93 is probably my second most precipitous drop. It was 13 on my last on our last list. And this one we have played recently. And so I do know that it has dropped that much. And this is going to be controversial to some people, I think. And that is Architects of the West Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
So I do really like it. I like it a lot more.
It's still in the top 100,
Yeah, it's still in the top 100. And it's basically, you're set in 850 AD at the end of the Carolingian Empire. And so you're building up cathedrals and landmarks, and you're the architects that are building these things up. The action, it's a worker placement, but what's really cool is that the more workers that are in a place, the more powerful that action is. One of the actions will send workers to jail, and you can get them back there, but that can be a little bit punishing with two of us. I think one of the reasons why it dropped is we don't love that mechanism, and it's kind of broken without it. However, when we added the Robo third player, we liked it a lot better as a 2-player, and that's what kept it on my list at all. Is that Robo third player. We were at the point of thinking like I just didn't like it very much. But once we put that in, it worked a lot better for us, and I really like it. It's enjoyable. There's a lot going on there, and I love that mechanism of sort of the multiplier effect of your workers in a space.
Yeah, I never want to send you to jail. So that Robo third player, like you're saying, really, I think that really ramped up the game for me a lot.
Yeah, it did. It without that, it was absolutely off our list, or off my list at any rate. But and it may be with some more plays it even creeps higher, but I was just really at the point of thinking that this wasn't going to work for us when we added that third player. And this, of course, I didn't mention the designer. If you're watching this, I can't believe you don't know. You probably do. This is from Shem Phillips and S.J. McDonald, Garfield Games, and the artist is the Miko. Right? And that's my number 93.
That's right. Good choice. So my next pick barely moved. It moved from 90 to 92.
Wow.
Or, yeah, we're 92. And it is probably one of the more well-known games of all time, and that is Ticket to Ride. Got a ticket to ride. Anyway, this is from Alan Moon, Days of Wonder, and the art in Ticket to Ride is, well, I'm sure each version has its own artist. The original Cyril Dujean and Julien Duval. Hopefully I pronounce those okay, but on the whole, you know, I just love, and I think my favorite version, I didn't pull up the details for my favorite version, is probably Nordic Countries maybe, or Markland, one of those.
Yeah.
But we have so many. Tokyo's so interesting. Pennsylvania's, of course, home for us. You know, so it's just, there's tons of interesting choices for maps and all that. And that's part of what keeps the game elevated. Is all the different choices of maps to play and whatnot. There's even a bunch of fan-made ones. And I know we meant to print out and do the Christmas fan one this year. We didn't do it. But that's still a hope. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We got other Christmases, hopefully. And yeah, so knock on wood. So I mean, what's there to say about Ticket to Ride? It's a real simple mechanism. You draw ticket cards, you spend ticket cards to connect cities, and put trains down. Then you try to build routes from city to city. And depending on how big the route is, you get more and more points. And it can be kind of a mean game because you can we don't really play that way, but you can be aggressive and block other players, which can be a fun way to play, but it is a tough way to play. And it's not our preferred style together. We got to live together.
Yeah, I don't like that in games.
No. So we don't like meanness too much. But, you know, I have played it that way, and I have had fun playing it that way with others in the past. So it is fun that way as well. So I like that there's different ways to play the game. And, you know, Ticket to Ride is just fun. And it's got so many thematic versions for so many different occasions that you can play.
Yeah.
So and if you know us at SpielMill, we like to match our occasions to our games and game themes. So
we do, and there's so many opportunities with Ticket to Ride. I agree. I think the fact that it's not just one game, it's like a whole system is what makes this so high on my list, which I will probably talk about later. But that system, being able to just go grab one of, I don't know how many we have, to be honest, we have like 10 of them, one of 10 different maps out and play it and know what it is immediately, but have it be just different enough that it's a new experience, that it's something fun and interesting. We were so excited to get, I think India and Africa this year, which we hadn't had before. And so
we had Africa.
We right.
just hadn't played it, I think, together. I think I played it separate.
Yeah, I had never played it.
We got Italy this year.
Yep.
And Poland, did we get Poland?
I don't know.
We tried to get Poland or something. We didn't get it, I think, in the end.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, the fact that, again, there's all those different maps just makes this so much more than any one individual game. So this is a great choice.
Yeah, I know we played UK for the first time as well.
Oh, so I think that's my favorite version. I really like the UK version. So
that was fun. All right, well, yeah, that's your 92?
Yep.
All right.
No, that's your 92.
That's my 92. Woo!
It is not my 92. We
Ticket
do not
to
have
ride,
a crossover.
Baby. All right, everybody, let's hear from Jen.
My number 92 dropped from 53 on our last list. And again, recency bias. But I still love this game so much, and that is Sprawlopolis from Button Shy. This is from Stephen Armini, Danny Devine, and Paul Kluka. As I said, it's a Button Shy game, and the art is from Lope Billou, Dalton Kara, and Danny Devine. And basically, each card is a Button Shy game, so there's 18 cards. One side has objectives on it, and the other side has a map with 4 quadrants on it. There's 4 types of quadrants in the game. Each card has all 4 quadrants on it, and then roads going through it. And you lay out 3 of the cards with the scoring requirements side up at the beginning of the game, and then that's how you're going to score the game. Then you're just building a map. You're putting these out. It is a great solo game, but it's also great for 2, which is what my introduction to the game was as a 2-player game. I think I've only played it solo in the last 2-3 years because of your illness, but I bet if we got it back on the table as for 2 people, it'd move right back up.
It's a perfect filler.
It is a perfect filler. Oh, they don't believe in filler games.
Who doesn't believe in filler
Button
games?
Shy. It's a game. It's just a game.
Yeah. Well, most of the games are filler games. I love Button Shy.
We do. We really love Button Shy. So, yeah, that's my number 92, Sprawlopolis.
My number 91 is new to my list. It's a fairly new game. It's been gaining a lot of popularity this year. It was kind of delayed popularity.
Mm-hmm.
The popularity at first wasn't there. We had it and we loved it and enjoyed it, but then it started getting buzz. Brothers Murph love it, others love it, and that is The Search for Planet X. And this one, this is one where I really feel like should be higher on my list. I don't know why it isn't. So it may shift over time here because it really is really, 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 really good. And it's a deduction game. It's app assisted, so you need to have an app. But basically, you have quadrants. Quadrants in a area space, and there's comets in some and meteors in some, and you have to figure out based on the information you have where other objects are and ultimately where Planet X is. So you might be able to figure out that, because of the rule about comets, there's a comet here and other comets have to be at least one away, so that because there's a comet here and a comet here, the other comet has to be over here, kind of thing, And,
yeah.
It's that kind of deduction. It's really, really fun and really challenging. So I really enjoy it. I think this is a fantastic game, and as I said, it's gaining in popularity as more and more people get to play. It's from Matthew O'Malley and Ben Rossett were the designers. The artist was James Messina and Michael Pedro, and the publisher is Foxtrot Games and Renegade Game Studios, are both listed as publishers on Board Game Geek for it. And there is right now on Kickstarter, there is a new version of this, The Search for Lost Species.
Yeah.
That is
excited for that one.
Being funded. So very excited for that one because this one is so good.
Yeah. And it's an even better theme for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a really good game. I used to love those logic puzzles when I was a kid. We would get them in the enrichment classes. We would get those puzzles where they would give you conditions and you try to figure out, I don't know whose birthday party it was or some silly thing like that. But I loved them. And this really just is that same feel. So this is a really unique game for that reason. You just don't see many games like this.
Yep. My 91, Search for Planet X.
Great. Well, my number 91 was 65 on my list in 2020. And it is also being republished right now, or was just republished. I'm not sure which, because we didn't back it because we have the original, and that is Iki. We love Iki. Iki is from Kuda Yamada and Arceus Games, and the artists are David Silbun and Kuda Yamada. And
this is so low.
Well, we haven't played it in a long time. So many good games came in this year.
Excuses. You have to get your priorities in order.
There's so many good games this year. Well, you know where Pub Meeple put it? Pub Meeple put it at 126, and I said, no way. No.
Yeah, Pub Meeple tried to screw up my list, too.
Well, Pub Meeple put Bunny Kingdom in at 140. Which, that's not right. I don't know what it was thinking. Yeah. Yeah, which obviously was wrong. So I don't know what Pub Meeple was thinking that day, because there's no way I rated Bunny Kingdom down that low. or Iki. So Iki does make my list at 91. It is, it takes place in, I didn't write down the whole spiel that I usually do, but I do know it's in Tokyo during the Edo period, which was, I think, 1600 to about 1868. It is, you visit the market district in Tokyo and you're going up and down. There's 2 streets. It's not quite a ratchet system because you can't go as far as you want. Your movement is limited unless you have extra.
But it is one way.
But it is one way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So that's what I was getting at, is that unless you have tokens, you are limited in how far you can go, but it is only one way. And you're visiting stalls and you're doing things like getting slippers or getting fish and, doing a whole bunch of other things. It takes place over the course of a year. There's 4 seasons in it. You're going to hire workers, and other people to help you, meet your objectives. And then there's a fire mechanism, which, as you can imagine, was a real threat, not just in Edo, but in, really all cities before modern firefighting, because these people packed densely together and, no modern firefighting equipment. So once something went up, whole cities would burn down. So you have to be really careful, and you have to prepare. You have to be really careful, and you have to prepare for the eventuality that there will be a fire, and it may hit you or may not. But I think you sponsor like the firefighting club or something like that, or whatever it is, and they will come to your stall first and make sure that you're okay, and make sure that you can survive. But it's just a really, really lovely, wonderful, fun game. It's super thematic. It's historic. The art is gorgeous. The gameplay is great. I mean, this game just has so much going on for it. Why is it my number 91?
I don't know. I said it's so low. I can't believe it's that low. I do think it's a ratchet system. I think ratchet really just means it's a one-way system. Yeah. Because I think Parks is a ratchet system. In Parks, you can only move up to like 3 spaces. Mm-hmm. The same thing with Dog Park, like you can move like 3 or 4 spaces, or something like that. And it's still a ratchet because it's kind of a one-way track, and you can move 1, or you can move 4, or 1 or 3 or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you still choose how far you're moving, and every time you move like 3 or 4, you're giving up on what's that 1 or 2. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I still think it qualifies.
Yeah, and you're racing against the opponent because there's like a lot of resources built up on that shop ahead, and you really want to get it. But if you don't go there first, you're not going to get those. But then you're going to have to skip something.
Do I spend my moccasins or not? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So, so it's a great game, ratchet or no. That is my number 91, Iki.
So that's our first 10 in our top 100. And we're going to try to do this. I think last time we did this, it took forever for us to get up, but I was also getting progressively sicker and sicker at the time. Yeah. So, and you had Lyme disease.
I did, yeah.
So it was like a cluster.
Yeah. And then I had Bell's palsy, and so half my face froze. Oh yeah. It was terrible.
It was quite a disaster. So hopefully this goes better. And I don't know. This was fun though. It's fun to do our top 100, and because we haven't done it in 3 years, it's interesting to see how much things have shifted. So
yeah, I did not make those notes. I made them quickly while we were paused here, where things were, and I haven't counted how many new games are in here. So I'm really excited to do that tonight, to go see what that. Yeah,
see if you have more or less than me, because I had 40 in my whole top 100.
I had 5 in the first.
And I think in that first 10, let's see, in that first 10 I had let's see.
6.
You saying I had 6?
I had 6.
Oh, 3. I think I only had 5. I can't seem to count. 1, 2, 3, just 4 new ones. So that's on pace. That's 40%, which is what I have overall.
Well, that would be.
So
I'm on pace as well.
So 4 to 10.
No, I had 6.
Okay.
But I that's not going to hold.
Well, anyway, we're interested in what games you love. So if you want to comment below, let us know what you're into, what you think of our picks so far, about how Iki is totally wrong for her, and it should be way higher.
Yeah. And what happens in your 91 to top 100? Do you get more new games coming in and going up, or more old games kind of slipping down and going out, or is it a mix? So I'm interested. I
It
think
was
that
kind
was
of a mix for us,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
It was kind of interesting. So anyway, I love you, beautiful board game people.
We do. And remember, every day that you game
Is a holiday.
and remember, like and subscribe.
Yes, please like and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I think we need to pause so I can pull up my last list
Okay.
because I did not do that. And so that is my number 4, Three Sisters.
94.
We are great with numbers today. It's a 4-day weekend, the end of a 4-day weekend. We're just brain dead. Too many games. Never too many games.